Now, with a global following of millions, Tom Walker's provocative political videos frequently go viral online. And if you don't recognise the name, you might recognise him in action as his alter ego, Jonathon Pie.
Feels like there isn't any hope left. But, no, there really isn't, is there? What we need is a hero. Someone to just bring the world together and get it back on the right track. And I am not that person. And that concludes my
And the man who plays Jonathon Pie is with me now. Welcome to you, Tom.
Thank you for having me.
So you're stepping away from the camera, stepping onto the stage in a show called Heroes and Villains. Dare I ask who the heroes are, who the villains are?
Well, initially, he's a political animal, so he's taking taking fire at the political elite in Westminster. So those sort of ostensibly are the villains, I suppose. But he's also sort of taking a look at himself. He's looking at. I think it's very easy to shout at the politicians and have a go at them, but he's looking at himself, and he's not quite the hero he's always made himself out to be.
That's interesting. Would you have thought of yourself or the character as a hero 5 years ago, or would he be more certain in himself then?
I think, yes, certainly he's...
I'm asking, has he got smug?
I think he has got a bit smug, and that's what I enjoy with him walking onto stage with that kind of smugness, and I can spend an hour slapping him back down a bit. I mean, he spends the first half of the show having a go at the Westminster elites, and then he kind of exposes himself as, for want of a better phrase, a champagne socialist, and that he's full of hypocrisies, that we're all full of hypocrisy. So I spend the first half of the show kind of taking aim at the people you'd expect, but then I kind of he holds a mirror up to himself, kind of holding a mirror up to the audience, really, and show him that we all kind of have a responsibility in this society, and just shouting at politicians isn't always the way forward.
These videos really do connect with young people, don't they? Do you think there's a danger in capturing them with the humour, that also they might get hooked on the cynicism that we have all around us in our political debates?
I think anything that engages younger people is a good thing. I think humour and satire is part of getting that. I have a lot of young people come up to me and say that they're studying politics in university, and that it was that particular video that switched them on. Pie is a cynical character. I think satire generally is rather cynical, but it has definitely plays its part. And I also think there's a catharsis to watching somebody vent and be as cynical as you are. And if a politician said something awful that week and you've been wandering around for a couple of days thinking, I can't believe they said that, and then you see this character Pie put it in words that you perhaps he articulates it perhaps a little bit better than you would, certainly possibly a little bit more sweary than you might.
If he turned his lens to London and issues in London, what might he rant about? I
think there are some issues that I find it quite difficult to write for. It was always difficult, you know, after 4 years of Brexit, to try and find an interesting bent. But there are certain issues that I find easy to write about. Homelessness. I think I've seen that. I've lived in London for 20 years. I see that getting worse and worse. People on the streets. There is something inherently wrong with a society where that is happening. You have to walk past it because you have to get to work. So we're all kind of complicit in that way. But I think that's something that he takes aim at, certainly globally, but I see it on my doorstep. Okay. So that's something that I've always sort of, Pie's always taken to task.
Plenty to take to task. You're on stage at the Duke of York next week for a 2-week run. Tom, lovely to have you in. Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thank you.